Alright, in this video, we're going to go ahead and show you how to fill in some of these thin lines that normally you could use a pattern and trace them out with a pencil onto the wood. We're at a little bit of an advantage here in our shop. We do have a CNC laser, so we go ahead and put some of the images on there, and some of them we will go ahead and let fully laser cut. That way we don't have to do any of it by hand. But like I said before in some of the other videos, I like doing some of it by hand, especially like this, because it just looks a little bit more in depth to me. And this one, we will be doing another video after this where we will be working with some color staining. So I wanted to do this one by hand. That way I can show you a few things to look for when you do them by hand with a wood burning pen, a pyrography pen, and you stain them at home and use color stain, you get a good result. So, the pyrography machine that I use is a little bit fancier than the one you're going to get at, say, Walmart, something like that, craft store. This one I ordered online. It is fully adjustable. With this one already being cut, and you don't have to do a lot of fine line work with any of it because we have laser cut the outline, and we're just pretty much doing a adult coloring page at this point. I'm going to set my voltage indicator here on the machine at about 45. That seems to be a pretty decent amount to where you're not so hot that when you get too close to the wood you're already searing it, but you can get a good outline and definition going, and you can shade it in as you go. So we'll go ahead and get started. Now that these are laid out, and again, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. I use this particular tip that is more of an angle on one side and flat on the other. I'm just used to it a little bit better. I've used this tip for a while. I've had a lot of practice with it. The first few things I did, as you can imagine that you'll find out along your way with the more you practice pyrography and wood burning, it is an extremely fun hobby that can be made into a pretty profitable craft. So if you're looking for something to do that you could possibly turn into a revenue source, wood burning is a good hobby to pick up. You don't have to necessarily even credibly be artistic about it. You can use coloring book pages. The internet's a great tool. You can use Google for about anything these days. Get line copies, coloring book pages, what have you. And then you can go right from there. But as you can see, I just kind of fill it in as I go to get all the outlines right where I want them. And you don't want to hang out too long. That's one thing I will say that is more beneficial about the more professional grade wood burners, I would say, is you're going to have a lot of adjustment in your heat range, which, it doesn't really sound like a lot of, well, I mean, it burns wood, doesn't it? It's all going to be about the same temperature. Well, yes and no. The standard ones that can't be adjusted can only get so hot. This one, now, it's not advisable to run it at high temperatures for a long period of time because it builds up a lot of heat in the handle, and it's going to be hard to hold, and you're going to end up shorting and melting your wires together, and you're constantly going to be taking it apart, trying to fix new things with it every other time you use it if you keep it really hot all the time. So if you're going to run higher temperatures, I would recommend only running it about 30 minutes at a time when you get into the higher range of temperature, just for the simple fact of it's going to build up heat pretty quick, it'll overheat the machine, and you'll end up throwing a breaker or a fuse, which in some of the more hobbyist models that are a little cheaper, that could mean that the whole thing is no good anymore. And some of the more expensive ones and professional grade models like I'm using, I would then have to take the entire machine apart. There is a couple of diodes and a fuse in there that if you overheat it, it will melt it. I know because I've had to do it. Not that it's impossible, but it is a pain, and it does take a lot of time away from your project, because then you got to spend, an hour or two taking it apart, putting it back together, just so you can get back to work. So if you're going to run high temperatures, I would recommend about 30 minutes. That's about it. Don't, if you're in that big of a rush to get the project done, it's probably safe to say you should have started it a little bit sooner than what you have, but that's alright. Some of my best projects I did on the worst time crunches, and they turned out absolutely amazing. So it really just depends on the situation as to how it will look if you're under a time crunch. But for the most part, as you can see, I've just been kind of going along, and it's really like a paint by number. You just kind of fill in every place it goes that's open line. And I just got it, you see I haven't got a whole lot done through the whole video here, but I've been constantly just chipping away at it, because you don't want to turn it up so fast that you're going and having to go back over it, or getting really splotchy line work. You want to be just hot enough that you can go right at the edge at a good slow pace, even do small little circles, whatever's easiest. And don't be afraid to spin it. I've got it right here, and I've been kind of keeping it in one spot, but I've been doing it a long time and had a lot of practice at it, so it's not hard for me to do it upside down. But when you're doing it at home, absolutely, grab this thing, flip it, turn it, go wherever you need. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's upside down. If it's easier to get, this curve right here shaded with it flipped upside down, by all means, flip it upside down. It's your piece. You're the one who's got to do it. So flip and turn as much as you need. I've just been trying to keep it in one spot and not really turn it a whole bunch, so it's a little easier for you to see. But as you can see, we just kind of go along and just fill all these in. Like I said, we can leave this on the laser. It doesn't really take a whole lot of extra time. We have the laser settings to accommodate if we want to shade it in. But as you'll notice if you look at our website, Facebook page, Instagram, we don't do a lot of them that way to where they are fully laser cut. Now, our name plaques and a couple of our other product lines, we do fully laser cut and laser shade everything. Just because it's ordered in a pristine nature, that's the way we do it. Some of our stuff that we just do for fun, like this piece, I usually go back and try to do a lot of it by hand, because it is a lot of fun to do. I can make videos like this one, and it gives it a little more of that handmade touch, which is our company's biggest thing, is handmade products, handmade gifts, and handmade decor. It can vary from whether it's personalized, or made to order, or just something that you see in the store that you want to have. And if you don't see something, and you think we might be able to do it, send us a message. Absolutely. We would love to hear from anybody with a custom order to see if we can make it happen. Absolutely. Now, granted, some things are out of our reach and spectrum and just not able to happen, but we absolutely try to accommodate any and all customization that we can in a timely manner. But these, we cut them. We get a lot of stuff that comes through with a lot of DIY crafts. These are absolutely a DIY craft. We have them on our website and our Facebook page. You can order them to where the outline and everything like this one here will already be burned, or you can order them just plain, to where they're already cut. They look just like this side over here, and you can burn them yourself, you can paint them, whatever the craft is you want to do. This one here is burned, of course, but with the color stain in another video that we're going to do once I get all of it burned, I think you'll really like how it turns out. So I'm going to go ahead and sit here and finish this out. And you guys can stay tuned for the next video when we're going to move on to color staining and finishing. Stay tuned to see what we will do next.